All right, guys, this week we're looking at the idea of student leaders and missions. Those two, I feel like, kind of go hand in hand, because if a student isn't some type of a leader, we probably don't want to take them on a mission trip. You know, I say that and then I think of Jesse, who we took on a trip. Jesse was not a believer, and Jesse was a student who one of our staff members worked with in a daycare. And as we were planning this trip, the staff member just said, hey, what do you think about coming with us? We're going to the beach for a week. We're going to work on some churches. We're going to do some manual labor. We're going to do some homeless ministry. What do you think? Come with us. Well, Jesse came. There was one night in particular, I remember us loading up the van. We were going to get ice cream, and we got to ice cream and realized we were a student short. I do not expect you to leave students anywhere. At least we left her at the church. But when we got back and we said, Jesse, what are you doing? Why didn't you come? She said, well, you guys keep telling me I need to read the Bible, so I've been reading the book of Mark. She had sat in a room and read the book of Mark. That night we were heading to bed, and I'll be the first to tell y'all I go to bed early, and once I'm half asleep, don't talk to me because I won't make sense. But that night, Jessie had questions. She woke the other staff member and I up and began asking things like, so if I do this, that whole counting the cost in the book you've already read, I once was lost. If I do this, do I have to quit cussing? If I do this, do I have to quit drinking? If I do this, do I have to quit having sex? Question after question after question. You guys, I was half asleep. I barely remember really even what I said in the conversation. But Jesse was a leader, but not necessarily a Christian leader. Within a week of coming back from that trip, I got a text message from Jesse that said, I've accepted Christ. And it was just such a beautiful celebration that we had. And so we do want students who can lead and who can have initiative, that are going to go on mission trips with us. But what that leader looks like may be very different when it comes to missions. I want all of our students living missionally and thinking, how is what I am doing about Jesus? How do I take Jesus with me where I go? This past weekend, I taught a seminar at a conference with a student, and he looked at me and said, so you're telling me I don't get to just go to lunch because I want to go to lunch, but I go to lunch because Jesus wants me to go to lunch? Because it was the neatest conversation to help this kid start to see and think missionally. So we're talking about missions this week, from us having missional mindsets to mission trips. We need to take our students and expose them to everything from Alaska to Africa and in between. But we also want to develop student leaders. We want to take them and push them and move them to be better leaders, to be more strategic in their thinking, to be critical thinkers, to look at something and say, how do I put this event together? Which means we have to trust them, which means we have to empower them. Say a student comes to you and says, oh my gosh, I have this idea. I want to do this outreach. Well, is your budget so tight that you say, hey, good luck? Or maybe you purposely have this little nest egg over here that you say, okay, I'm going to give you $200 to figure out how to make this happen. And you entrust that to that student and see what the Lord can do through that passion and that energy and that drive. So really consider this week missions, consider our student leaders, consider how do we live missionally as leaders and also on the mission field. One of the things I hate about mission trips is that we come home, and if we left the mission field more complicated, or if we left it truly with a blessing and in a place where those missionaries that stay can continue to work. If we're living missionally in all that we do, then we're leaving it in a way that the Lord continues to work even if we're not there.